Let me just have a quick read, though, to remind myself of the very clever things that I was going to ask. All right, cool. Let's just try it. Okay, I'm here with Leigh, my coach at VT Jiu-Jitsu, and I recently competed a couple of times in the British and the English Opens, and Leigh coached me, and a lot of other people commented on Leigh's coaching. He doesn't think anything of it because he's been doing it for so long, but I thought that it would be a really good idea to just chat to him about how he coaches. He is completely unprepared for these questions, so let's see what he says. I wanted to know where your strategy for competition coaching starts with your students.
If someone says they're going to do a competition, cool, but you need to prep. Right? You need to be ready. It's not like an MMA fight or a boxing match where you've got to really put in like a massive 8-week camp and hit all these different metrics. It's a jiu-jitsu match, right? And it's just a bit of fun. But nobody wants to turn up and just get smashed, right? And say, oh, well, I had a go, right? You want to go there and give a good account of yourself. Otherwise, there's no point paying the fee and making the effort. So we'll do rounds where we'll simulate a referee, calling you on, doing the handshake, using like combat, pyro, just so they've got a bit of a feel for what they're going to experience.
You are very big on strategy. You don't think it's a good idea for any of your students to just go into a comp without a plan?
Yeah, so when I would compete at the coloured belts, and you get to meet people and you chat, or you see people that you've known through MMA or whatever, or people know who I am and they come home and say hello, and I ask them, just get talking and ask them what their strategy is for the day. And many, many times I'd hear people say, I'm just going to see how it goes. And that seems mental to me. Like, I'd love you to have that strategy against me, because I'm going to show you how it goes. I'm going to double leg you, put you in your back, right? And I'm going to be 2 points up. That's something that's in your control. Do everything that's within your control. I can't control how good my opponent is. I can't control their preparation. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to stress over how good they are, how bad they are, because I can't control that. But what I can control is whether I'm in shape, whether I'm on weight, whether I've got a strategy. That's in my control.
When you're talking about strategy, you aren't necessarily talking about everything from fist bumping right through to a submission. You're mostly talking about that initial period.
Yes, in general, yes. You can't prepare for every eventuality. Like, if I don't know everyone in my division, because you can't prepare for everyone. What you know is definitely going to happen is that you are going to be called in. You're going to stand at the edge of the mat. The referee's going to do this. You're going to walk over, you're going to shake the referee's hand, probably going to fist bump your opponent, combat, and you're going to fight. All of this is a known variable. So you have to at least have a strategy for this part. For the first point of contact, what's it going to be, right? When the referee says combat, what are you going to do? Now, and I think this is a really important one to get right, because this is where the nerves kill you. Once you're in the fight and it's tumbling, it's going, then you're doing what you've done day in, day out in the gym on the mats, right? But that first competition contact, that's not what's common to you. That's something you don't experience very often, only in competition.
There's a whole sequence of things that has to happen, right? There's weigh-ins. You got to make sure you know what time you're on, and also times often change, so you got to be checking frequently. So
I can be a bit parental, I think. I figure that people don't compete a lot. They don't necessarily have all this dialed in, right? So it's my job to guide them with that.
Can you talk about the warm-up? Because you have a fairly specific type of warm-up.
I like to start my warm-up an hour out, and I want to go anaerobic before I go into my match as well. So I'll normally start off with a light stretch, just to loosen off, just be on the mat, have my gi on, just be able to just feel the surface of the mat and just relax into it. Then I'd like to do a light roll if I can, just to get my heart pumping and get my limbs moving and, get my reflexes moving a little bit. And that actually breaks quite a sweat. If you haven't warmed up properly, you may have experienced this before, where you go into a match and you're exhausted, but then you do much better in your second match because you're fully warmed up now. So that's what I do, and it works really well, and I try and get my students doing the same thing. But where I'm going with this is because this is about the coaching. I think the students don't know this stuff, so it's my job to guide them through this process.
So you do not make your students compete. You definitely encourage it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
My goal for all of my students is to get better at jiu-jitsu. That's the only thing I care about. I'm very fortunate that I've got a career outside of jiu-jitsu. I'm an engineer, and that pays my mortgage. And what it does allow me to do is to focus purely on people getting better. So regarding competition, I think it's a really, really good way to improve. But competing tests you in a way that nothing else will. And it gets harder when you're a brown belt or a black belt because those competitions aren't there for you, right? But at the lower coloured belts, compete as much as you possibly can, right? Now you've got to also weigh that up against, like with Zoe, for example, we've taken her back from competition for a little while. She's had a fantastic run. She smashed a load of competitions very, very quickly, and she did really well. Like she won the Euros. She competed on Enyo and did excellently. She's then done the British, won that as well. But we want to develop her skill set. So take a few months off competing now. You've just had a run of competitions, like about 5 of them in a space of 2 months, right? So let's now develop your skill set.
Your coaching mat side is a bit different to what you usually hear from other coaches.
If I'm screaming at you from mat side, as you've mentioned actually, that the coach influences the athlete, right? And so if I'm hyper, they're going to be hyper. But I don't want my athletes being hyper. I don't want them being angry. And I've done this. I've been cage side. You need to smash his face. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't. It just makes the guy emotional. And he doesn't need to be emotional right now. He needs to be thinking about how to win this fight. You may as well not even be there. I prefer to have nobody next to me than have someone screaming at me. Because then now, not only does it make you emotional, but you're feeling pressured now, and you're not thinking about the match. So I really do my best not to get like frustrated or angry. I will shout at you when we get back here. Right? What the hell are you doing? Right? Well, I probably won't. I'll probably say, look, what you did was a mistake, because it doesn't help. And also, I know from experience that someone on the outside can't always tell what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're having a panic attack, or maybe their foot's caught in a way that I can't see, or anything could be going on. For whatever reason, they haven't taken my instruction. Okay. Breathe. I say that a lot. I tell people to breathe a lot.
Breathe, Tammi, breathe.
Because you have to be relaxed so that you can think.
Breathe, Daniel, breathe.
I can't talk them through each technique, but I will say stuff like, you need to stop and rest there. You need to hold that position.
Nice and low. Right, stay there, take your time. Don't get rolled, take your time.
And sometimes they can't see what's happening. And I'll see what their opponent's setting up before them. And I'll say stuff like, you need to watch for this, watch out, he's going to do this, he's going to do this, he's going to do this. Right. Keep your eye on that left hand. Right, just watch out for these equal. Right, stuff like that.
Often in a competition, you don't really have much of a concept of time, and you certainly mostly don't have a chance to look at the scoreboard. One thing you do is you make it very clear when certain positions are reached to not hurry to move on.
Take your time, no pressure. Take your time.
That information is important, I think, for the athlete. You need to know how long you've got left to compete. You need to know what the score is, and you can't always see it. Let's say you're doing a pressure pass. As an example, you've pressure passed someone, but you've got your head buried down and you're driving through and you've passed, and you don't know how long you've got to hold it for before you move to maybe to mount or something else. You want to get your pass points. So I'll tell them once the referee gives the points, you got your points, settle, breathe, take your time, no pressure now, take your time. And when people get to mount, I'll just tell them, I'll remind them. There's no, and kind of for the referee as well, but the referees tend to be pretty good, not always, so I just remind them of stuff. But it's also good for the athlete to hear, you don't need to panic, because people, they want to finish, and no, right? There is no pressure on you to finish a match. There simply isn't, right? If you think, but I want to submit everyone, and people will think this and they'll think, no, these rules, they promote stalling, right? Okay, you get stalling penalties, but they promote positional dominance.
Yeah, so that is interesting, because obviously you've competed at and coached at lots of different rule sets and different sports even.
Yep.
And so your strategy and your coaching and your competing yourself is all going to change depending on those rule sets.
Yes. I used to think a little bit, and other people will say it too, like, oh, you're playing the rules. Right. Well,
yeah.
If we don't play the rules, I'm going to hit you with a hammer. Right? I mean, there are rules. If the rules are different, I'll do something different.
when things are over, the competition's over, win or lose, when you get back to the gym, do you have a specific kind of like, right, who competed at the weekend? Who do we need to just like tidy up and talk about what happened?
So if I can give feedback, I absolutely will. I'll say, okay, so you made this mistake or that mistake, and you need to work on this, you need to work on that. If I see someone and they've done something that technically is wrong or technically could be improved, I'll tell them that. But generally, it's going to be more stuff like, just in general for your long-term jiu-jitsu training, like you need to work on your mount escapes. I think there's a very, very clear difference between an instructor and a coach. And the skill sets are wildly different, wildly. I mean, it's a different role, really.
Yeah.
One is breaking down a skill and trying to pass that knowledge on. And there's different ways to do that. A coach's job is to develop the athlete and to support them in competition. And there's completely different skill sets. One's a teacher and one's a mentor. I don't think that I'm exceptional at this. I just think I do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, good. Thanks. You're a good coach. We appreciate it. And thanks for trying to impart some of your wisdom, even if you don't see it as wisdom.
I'm happy to answer any questions on what I do.
There you go. Inundate him with questions.
Yeah, hit me up on social media and ask me some questions if you've got any. But I just do what I think I should be doing, and I think what everyone else.
Well, it has taken you years of competing and coaching to be this good.
Fair, that's a fair point.
You're taking it for granted and saying like everyone should be doing it, but it's been how many years? Yeah. Great. I think that was great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
How cold it is in here.
I'm trying to hide my shivering.
It's hail. It's now hailing.
Or I'll jump in on the press drills and just go knee on face.
Okay.
If you're going to be lazy, you're going to get a knee in the face or something, right?
All right, we don't need to start mentioning names, for God's sake. Yeah. Cats.